Good afternoon and welcome back to Traveling McGee. Thanks for tuning back in. Hopefully you watched my introduction of what I'm doing and where I'm at and what I'm going to be exploring. I'm here on the Chesapeake Bay. I'm going to be in Maryland and Virginia. And today marks the start of the first of 3 videos that I'm going to be trying to do here for this kind of Chesapeake Bay tour. And for this video, I'm kind of going to be talking about the northern part of Maryland's eastern shore here. This morning I was in Elk Neck State Park area, which is about 50 miles from where I'm at right now. Right now I'm in a town called Rock Hall. Really pretty town, but the main draw to this town is actually its fishing industry. It is home to several different marinas here on the bay. Rock Hall is also a very historical town. This town was at one time a very important port for people traveling from the other side of the bay trying to get over to the eastern side of Maryland. Specifically people coming from Annapolis and Baltimore trying to get over to these main trading routes that would then take you up into Philadelphia and Wilmington and points in New Jersey and New York. So during the colonial times specifically, this route was traveled a lot by some pretty famous people in American history. George Washington is recorded to have stayed here at least 8 different times. A couple other different historical figures as well. So at one time in Rock Hall's history, this was a very important trading route, a very important traveling route for people trying to get from across the bay and up to the major cities of Philadelphia and New York. But right here behind me is a great example of the fishing industry here at Rock Hall. You can see these large stacks of crab traps, I guess if you want to call them, or crab baskets. So fishermen will fill these baskets with some type of bait, usually some type of chicken, and then they will drop them down to the bottom of the bay, tie them down to a buoy, and they will check on them throughout the day and periodically, and then they'll haul them up to the boat and collect whatever is inside. But my main goal today for visiting Rock Hall is because I want some seafood. I'm here, I'm on the Chesapeake Bay, this is day 1, I'm really excited. I want some good seafood. So I'm gonna be heading over to Ford's Seafood Market. It's a restaurant, seafood market, but I am really just craving like a crab cake sandwich. That's what I really want right now. So let's go see if they have one. That was quite delicious. And guess what their special was for the day? Crab cake sandwich. I guess it was meant to be. I got it broiled with some tartar sauce, some fries, and a side of their potato salad just to try it. Can't complain about that. I think that was a perfect spot. Now I'm headed down to East Neck National Wildlife Refuge. And I believe I'm saying that correctly. So let's get back on the road and see what we can find. Okay, so like I said, I am down here at Eastern Neck National Wildlife Refuge, and it's a lot to say in one shot. It only took about 15 minutes to get here from Rock Hall, which is where I just had lunch. And this is just a beautiful natural area to protect a pretty significant area here along the bay for migratory birds, especially a specific type of swan. They do have a visitor center here. Unfortunately, it's closed today, but you still have access to the reserve or the refuge itself. There are a lot of different trails that you can take. One of the reasons why this area is so significant is because this is where the Chesapeake Bay and the Chester River confluence. So I believe here on this side, this is what's known as the Chester River. And then down here in the middle, just beyond where this boat is, you can see it kind of flattens out in the horizon. That continues down into the greater part of the Chesapeake Bay. And then just up this kind of coastline here, past these trees, is Rock Hall, which is where we just were. Alright, so here we have it. This is the beginning of the boardwalk trail. This is headed back out to the main entrance, but we're going to do this little trail here first. Now that it's almost fall, it is quite a peaceful and just quiet place to explore and see nature. They're very bird focused here, especially migratory birds like the tundra swan, which is what I brought up a few minutes ago. If you do come here, especially in October it seems, during warmer weather, make sure you bring bug spray because I am being swarmed by mosquitoes. Luckily I have bug repellent on, but it is definitely a good idea. There is a lot of mosquitoes. You've been forewarned. Well, I think that wraps it up for me for my first day on this trip. Made my way here to Eastern Neck National Wildlife Refuge. If you have never been here before, I highly recommend it. It is absolutely stunning. I'm here at sunset and it is just beautiful. I'll be spending the night at a Cracker Barrel on Kent Island tonight. Hopefully I don't have any issues, and yeah, we'll pick up tomorrow. All right, well, welcome back to day number 2, and today I am in St. Michael's, Maryland, and let me tell you, this place is absolutely beautiful. It's like straight out of a movie. There is brick-lined streets, lots of little like boutique shops and little restaurants, beautiful churches here, a lot of very historical old buildings. The main reason why I'm here is because I'm going to be checking out the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum. So let's go walk around.
Let's go home. Ain't no fair. Get you out here, get your hopes up, and then turn if it don't pull the rubber. They're not looking at me. Let them know, Connie. Let them know. They're not you.
Well, I just wrapped up walking through the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum. I highly recommend if you are into maritime history, if you're into boating, sailing, fishing, clamming, oyster harvesting, crabbing, all that kind of stuff. It really talked about a lot of the history from the bay and the industry that exists today. Couple different buildings that you can walk through. I was lucky enough to catch, they had like a apprenticeship master boat builder type person there for a couple days, and they were working on some type of Japanese style boat. So that was pretty cool to watch them talk through some things, and they were carving out the wood and all that kind of stuff. There's a bunch of different boats that you can look at. There is the lighthouse. You are able to walk up all the way to the top where the light is and gets a nice view of the little kind of bay that they have there. A couple different other buildings that they have. One was all about oystering. Another one was all about like small boats. And I also recommend the town of St. Michael's as well. It's a really beautiful town full of bed and breakfasts, little restaurants, little shops, a beautiful downtown for where you can walk, and all around just a really cool town to explore here in Chesapeake area. Now I'm in a little town called Cambridge, Maryland, which is about an hour south of St. Michael's. It is situated here on the Chop Tank River, so I'm not exactly on the Chesapeake Bay. but I'm very close to it. But the main reason why I wanted to come here is because of its historical significance. This is a very well-known area for Harriet Tubman, who was a pioneer before the American Civil War in helping African American slaves to use the Underground Railroad and to get up above the Mason-Dixon line. And there is a museum here, the Harriet Tubman National Historic Site Park. One of those things. But that doesn't open for a few more hours, so I am going to take a little walk around. Like I said, I am here on the Choptank River, and right behind me is the Choptank Lighthouse. Alright, so just a few miles outside of Cambridge, I am now here at the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad Visitor Center. It's a beautiful building. It looks pretty new, actually. I guess it's going to talk about some important areas in the Cambridge area. So I'm really excited to walk through there. It looks really, really beautiful. This is a very interesting visitor center. So it kind of talks obviously about Harriet Tubman, where she was born, her upbringing, her experience through slavery, and her drive to want to be a free person. And it talks about her escape from a plantation not too far away from here, and how she made her way into Pennsylvania and Philadelphia and gained her freedom. But in the process of that, she realized that she still had family here, and she had friends here and relatives here. So she made a trip from Pennsylvania down to the eastern shore of Maryland, down and free her family and her friends and take them back up to Pennsylvania through the Underground Railroad. During the Civil War, she was able to join the Army and kind of act as a spy for them. She was able to lead reconnaissance missions and give intelligence to the Union Army, which I did not know about. And then in her later years, after the war, after slavery had ended, she was a very well-known activist for women's rights. So quite a fascinating woman, quite a fascinating life. A lot of pain, a lot of struggle, a lot of hard work, a lot of endurance is what I took away from this woman and her life and this visitor center. So the visitor center kind of talks about different areas in this area that you can visit that kind of correlate to her life and to the Underground Railroad and the movement to try and free slaves from this part of Maryland. It's pretty fascinating, and there's a lot of different places that you can go see. This is just a really great visitor center all around if you are a fan of American history. Prior to the Civil War, a lot of Civil War history here too, but just this whole area is very, very interesting and really beautiful. We're very close to an area called Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge, which is where I'm headed to right now. It's very similar to the one that I was at earlier in this video. Waterways, and there's a couple different trails, and so I'm headed there now. Alright, so I'm now here in Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge, and something that's really cool about this place is they have a scenic drive. It's about 4 miles long, so it's not really long, but it takes you along some beautiful marshland where you can see lots of birds and different type of aquatic life. And right now I'm getting ready to do a little trail. It's about 1/3 of a mile. It's called the Marsh Edge Trail, and there is a small observation platform type thing. So I'm hoping that the mosquitoes aren't too bad, because they were really bad up at Eastern Neck. So I need to put some bug repellent back on, but hopefully we'll see some cool stuff. So Blackwater did not disappoint, and I would highly recommend it to anybody that enjoys large birds, migrating birds, you know, seeing different types of wildlife, animals that thrive kind of in marshland. It's a really beautiful, beautiful area, a really nice wildlife refuge to protect so many different types of animals, so it's really important. And again, it's very close to the Harriet Tubman Museum, which I walked through. Blackwater does have its own little visitor center, which also kind of talks about the refuge and its history and its importance and some of the animals that call it home. So definitely worth a visit if you are in the area. They're very close by. And you can do that little wildlife tour, which is pretty incredible. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I'm going to apologize in advance. This was a lot of things to cover and fit into one video. I don't know if I'm regretting that yet, but I apologize if the video seems kind of choppy or if I'm kind of bouncing around in certain areas. It's, again, a lot to try and force into one little video. So hopefully my editing skills are improved enough that it will flow very nicely. But I'm excited for part two. Part two, as we get down into the lower part of the bay, crossing over the Bay Bridge into Virginia Beach, getting down into Virginia and exploring some of the towns down there. So if you enjoyed this video, thank you for making it to the end, and I hope you stick around for part two, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.